Give us your favorite thing about America in your best American accent.
The other night, I was doing a meet and greet, and the last woman to come in, and she comes in, she goes, "Are you gonna sign my tits? Or are you gonna sign my flask?" I was like, wow.
G'day and welcome to the Big Down Under podcast. I'm Charlie Cotton, and today on the podcast, I'm interviewing one of Australia's favourite musicians, Tash Sultana. She is maybe the coolest person in Australia. She certainly can play the guitar like no other and basically 20 other instruments at the same time. She tells me about her journey from busking in Melbourne to getting a big break with a viral clip of hers, Jungle. You might have heard of the song. You probably have. Everybody has. She got a big break when that went viral, and since then she's just been absolutely killing it. She talks to me about her growth mentally, how she's changed inside herself, as well as her life has changed. She's got a wife now. She's over here on tour in America, living her best life. I hate that expression, but she is. She's doing so well, and I'm so happy to get to meet Tash Sultana. So without further ado, here's Tash. So you're somewhere in the middle of Texas. How's it been? How's the American tour been?
It's been really good.
It's been good.
But it's also been really interesting because actually just with what's going on in America at the moment, so many people have actually not wanted to come out in public because they don't feel safe
Yeah.
to be out. So the other night at a show that I did, there was 500 no-shows.
So they'd bought tickets and then they didn't show up because they were, wow, that sucks. I mean, the climate here right now is at fever pitch. It's a very interesting time for you to be touring around America.
Yeah, I mean, you plan your tours so far in advance, and then when you get there, like I've been listening to the Bruce Springsteen audiobook at the moment, and like those artists that have been around for so long, they've toured through so many different social changes in life, and that's just what's happening right now. Like my LA show got postponed because of all the protesting that was happening in downtown, like the curfew that was implemented. I couldn't do the show.
Right.
So I'll come back in November and do that. But the shows themselves have been amazing. Like I know it's the best that I've ever played or sung, or it's the best show that I've ever had. Feel like I've really come into my own recently.
Love to hear it.
Yeah, like this is the artist that I want to be, and this is the artist that I've been working so hard to become.
That's fantastic, man. Yeah, I mean, and being on tour must be fun as well. Like,
yeah, it's sick. It's fun.
I'm sure you're getting to do some weird and wacky things around the place. Like, what have you enjoyed doing? Just like the American experience. Like, what are the little things that you've enjoyed doing while you've been on the road here?
Bowling. Bowling. I'm not drinking or anything like that. So I've been taking my health really seriously and getting really fit. Lost, 15 pounds, and I'm in just like the best mental and physical condition that I've ever been in my life.
Can I take you back to the start of your career and everything like that, or even before that, even before you were like Melbourne or Australia's best busker? Like what sort of stuff, how did you get into music, and then how did you earn a crust, like while you were figuring out what you wanted to do?
I was born musically inclined.
Right.
I do not come from a musical family at all. My mum can literally barely clap in time. And my dad is an immigrant. Came over from Malta in the 70s. They made a living as hardworking people out of a caravan, 8 people living in a caravan. I was born later on down the line. My grandfather gave me a guitar when I was 3, and I started from there. When I got a little bit older, I did some guitar lessons. From the knowledge of the guitar, I decided to start picking up other instruments. And then on my 18th birthday, my dad took me to the music store and he said, "You can pick one thing." So I'd already been playing heaps of gigs by this point. Like, by 13 years old, I'd written a list of every open mic night around Melbourne and Victoria, and I went literally every single night. I had a
You just
fake
knew.
ID.
Yeah, you just knew.
I had a fake ID. All these places, they knew anyway. They just let me in. Um, and then when I finished school, I was like, all right, well, you got to make a living. You got to get a job. You got to start doing your thing. Dad took me to the music store on my 18th birthday and said, yeah, you can pick one thing. So I was deciding between a banjo and a loop station.
Oh, both good options, to be
And I
honest.
picked the loop station, and my dad said, I think you've made a massive mistake,
Right,
which
right.
is really funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when I started busking, I was busking acoustically. No one gave a fuck, literally.
Mm.
No one gave a fuck. So then I pulled out the electric guitar one day and I thought, oh, maybe I might just try and make some loops. And it wasn't really a big thing back then.
Mm.
So I was like, jamming on the street, making some loops, having a little bit of soloing. That was going well. So then I thought, okay, maybe I'll build out a pedal board. Build out a pedal board, doing that, going real good. Okay, well maybe I'll just plug in some drums, a little drum pad. Did that. That was going really good. So then it just extended and extended and extended and extended. And then it got to the point where you couldn't extend it anymore with generic, like off the shelf equipment. Jungle went viral from, those home recordings, and
Right.
then cast onto the world stage, 20 years in the making.
Amazing.
But now what I'm doing is all custom. So I built that with some crew.
Oh, you
And
built your own rig. That's awesome.
yeah. Built my own rig.
How many instruments do you know at this stage? Is there a
Don't
number?
know.
Is there a number?
I hear a different number every interview. Sometimes I'll do an interview and people will be like, so you're playing 30 instruments? I'm like, nah, I don't even know if I can name 30. But
Right.
you see, I mean, I say this to everyone, if you want to learn how to do it, it's just about literally committing to doing it. Sit down, commit. That's it. That's
Right.
what it takes.
Yeah, because like I asked AI, right? Who are
Yeah.
the musicians out there, past and present, who basically, can play and have played all the instruments on an album, sort of thing. I said,
Mm-hmm.
give me the top ones in the world. Rank me them. In fact, they gave me Prince, Stevie Wonder, Todd Rundgren, who I actually personally haven't heard of, but he seems very good, and Paul McCartney, and fifth was you.
Really?
They said they ranked you as the fifth best ever, like sort of one-person bands like could play everything. Does it dawn on you how unique and special that is to have an all-encompassing skill of just music?
Makes me think I should have fucking gotten a bit more ready for this interview, maybe like at least had a fucking shower first or something.
No, I like.
Hey, it's what you see, what you get. This is who I am.
That's why we love you.
That's really cool. I appreciate that. I feel like there's like a new wave thing kind of going through like my career at the moment, where like I obviously had an explosion in my career happen in 2016,
Yeah.
2017, 2011, so on. But the last few years, I felt like I'd kind of gone at a little bit of a standstill, like it had just become a bit stagnant, and I needed to change the input, because if it's same input, it's same output. So what I've been doing over the last like 7 months of my life is, I call it squeezing the lemon. I'm just like doing because I'm an independent artist, right? I don't have major label backing or anything like that, and
Oh,
I never ever have.
great. Oh, that's
So I've got
amazing.
my own record label. I've got my own booking agency that I started in 2019. So I was the kid that didn't really fit in anywhere. So I just went and did my own thing.
But that's before your time. That's before your time thinking, because right now you see all these major artists trying to get out of their, like, who think that they've been sort of like taken advantage of by their record label, or now young artists are like seeing that and seeing people like you, where you can do it alone and you can own your own stuff. It's a lot harder, but clearly just very beneficial.
It's fucking hard. It's so hard.
Is it way harder?
Because
Yeah.
Well, it's so hard because I am all of it, right? Like
Mm,
I'm being the promoter, I'm being the label, I'm being the agent, I'm being the manager, I'm being the strategy, I'm being the marketing, and blah 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 blah.
yeah,
To an extent, right? So
yeah,
when you're an independent artist, if you're not doing that yourself, you're seeking it out in like from a third party, which you then have to pay.
mm.
Whereas a label, like if you're going to go and do a label deal, I'd like to sit down and ask, what services are you going to offer me?
People just think they have no choice, I think, at the start of their careers. And they're just like,
Well, you kind of don't at the beginning unless you've already got some buzz around you that you've created yourself. That would be my advice to people would be go and create organic buzz around yourself before you have conversations with the label, because then you've actually got some leverage
totally.
before, someone comes and throws a contract in your face that you've never seen in your life. They've promised you, let's use a round number of 100 grand, right?
Mm,
For 2 albums. That's a terrible deal.
yeah.
That's a terrible, terrible, terrible deal.
But for like a
But
busker, if someone's busking, they probably think, shit, man, this is a
yeah,
couple years, like, salary.
yeah. Well, when I was busking, some days I was making 3 grand a day in coins.
What? In just shrapnel, just coins,
Yep. And it
three.
was heavy as I used to fill up my backpack full of coins and push my busking trolley up to the car park in Melbourne that I used to park in for $20 a day. Then I'd go to the Commonwealth Bank because it had a coin counter, and I'd come in just with like backpacks full of coins. All the bank tellers were like,
Oh,
"What the fuck? Who is this kid?"
yeah,
Because I
you
literally looked
again.
like an absolute child.
Yeah.
Like when I was 18, I just looked like a child, and just putting like so many coins in this coin counter, and it spit me out a receipt. I take it to the bank teller. I'll have it in cash, thank you. They'd give it to me in cash, and I paid for everything. I paid for my tours with that. I paid for equipment with that. I paid for studio with that. Like
Busking can be kind of
I,
lucrative if you're really good at it.
oh no, some of us were making so much money, legit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Is busking culture in the States and in Australia different? I'm sure there's various ways it might be different, but also I'm just thinking the putting money in a hat or in a bag thing, they don't have coins here really. You know what I mean? They
It's
they,
dead.
they mostly have dollar notes. So yeah, tell me about busking in America.
I don't know much about busking in America, but what I can tell you in Australia is that the busking culture is largely dying in Australia due to the fact that the country has moved to a very cashless or
Mm,
into a very cashless society. So that spare change that you used to have in your pocket that you'd throw into
so
the
true.
busking case, now it's like you got to tap on your card. And some people do have a little FPOS machine where you do tap on, but like
It's harder.
it's harder, and the regulations around it are much tougher than they used to be. Like I used to have that shit up so loud, man, and the
Yeah.
council would come and they would get this little device where they thought that they could measure the
Oh,
sound,
right,
decibels,
right.
and I'd be like, "How are you getting an accurate reading on that
Did
when
they
it's
write
not
you
a
any
cut?"
tickets?
Yeah.
They wrote
Yeah.
you noise.
How'd you get an accurate reading on that when you don't have a calibrated sound system? What kind of sound are you actually measuring? Are you
Yeah.
measuring white noise? Are you measuring pink noise? What are you measuring?
They didn't bargain on you. They didn't
No,
bargain on
and
you.
they couldn't fucking answer me. And I'd be like, "Do you know how many decibels that tram bell is every time it comes past Burke Street?" And
Facts,
they'd
facts.
argue, argue, argue. So I never paid a fine, and
Oh,
I'd
nice.
turn it down. They'd come over as soon as they left. I'd just bump that shit back up.
That's
I was
awesome.
honestly a pest, to be honest. Like
Yeah,
I was a pest,
but
but it worked.
yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I think then that must impact like the music scene in general if busking is dead in Australia, sort of thing. Like, I mean, not
I think
it's dying. It
it's
must affect.
dying. Yeah.
It must affect like then artists like you, Tashs in waiting. There's less of them.
Yeah. It's it's dying because it's gotten harder
Mm.
because of like council regulations and the fact that people just don't have coins anymore.
Oh, damn! Bring back the
Yeah.
coins.
I
Maybe we
know.
should bring them back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so You mentioned that you didn't come from a musical family. If you weren't, musically inclined, what do you think you'd be doing? I'm sure you've been asked this a million times before, but may as well
I
answer it
think I
again.
would be in sport or something like
Oh
that.
yeah? What do you,
Maybe.
I know you're a surfer.
Yeah, I probably would have taken that a lot more seriously.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see
Yeah.
that. Have you been doing any surfing when you travel around like playing shows and stuff?
I've been trying to catch up with Kelly Slater for a bit, but our schedules just don't haven't been matching up,
Oh
which is
man.
really, really sick when you like check your inbox one day and you get a message from Kelly Slater and they're saying, "Hey, we're
Oh,
well overdue for a surf." It's
that'll
like,
happen.
yes,
That'll definitely happen, I reckon.
we are well overdue for a surf, mate. Thanks so much.
Oh, here we go. This is like sending up the bat signal right now. Like
Mm,
Kelly, big listener of the pod, actually, big fan of the pod. So
okay,
he might
yeah,
be hitting
yeah.
you
Well,
up
say
soon.
hey, Kelly. No, he did hit me up. He did hit me up and say we need to have a surf soon.
Well, next time you're in, I think where does he live? Hawaii? I don't know.
I won't disclose.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm not trying to get it private deets. Uh, hey, we always have this whole thing. I always interested to ask musicians about how like having a tough life is actually like a really good thing in music. And people who have tough lives make better music. And maybe then when the lives get better, the music isn't as good. What's your take on not for
I
you
think that
personally,
might be
Tash,
right.
not for you personally, but like what is your take on like these sort of tortured artists? Do you think
Mm,
it's of a benefit to be tortured when you're trying to create like impactful art?
For me, yes, definitely. Like, I did an experiment with my previous EP, which is called Sugar. And I called it Sugar because I was on Lexapro. So it was like artificial serotonin, pretty
Mm,
much, right? It's a
right.
stabilizer. And it made me write so differently because I couldn't access that like tortured,
Hmm.
suffering artist curse part of myself in the same way. Like it was very limited and muted. And I actually I got off that because of that reason. Like I just no longer felt like I could actually access that part of me. Like Return to the Roots was all about like getting back to that point of where the real music comes from, like it because it's performance based, right? So on the record I just did, it's not a million takes to get the right vocal
Mm.
or dropping cut in vocals on words and sentences like some people do. Like I went in there some days and sung that whole thing top to bottom, and that is literally what it is.
How do you access the tortured side of yourself then when you're living such a happy life? You got a beautiful partner, you're loving it's a great time to be Tash right now. How do you access the more tortured side then when you want to write like a banger?
I mean, it's a great time to be me at this current point, maybe starting over the last couple of weeks, but prior to
Okay.
that it was pretty fucked, to be
Okay. Okay.
honest.
So you were
No,
able to access it then.
yeah, I mean, we just
Okay.
had life stuff that came at us at the end of last year, which I'm sure you've seen. My wife's cancer journey,
Yeah.
and she's good now. But you don't get to pick when life throws things at you. You just have to adapt and adjust to what's being thrown at you. So I was writing this record when all that went down, and I wrote my best work out of my worst places.
Mm.
So yeah, if I'm happy, mate, I'm not going to be in the studio. I'm elsewhere.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're having a good
yeah.
time. That's
I'm
awesome.
having a good time somewhere else.
Man, you and your wife have got to be Australia's best looking couple. For real.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
for real,
you.
man. You guys are hot. How
Thank
did
you.
you meet her?
There's varying stories on that.
Oh, okay. Are you not going to
Yeah.
tell any of them?
Well, it depends if you ask me or it depends if you ask
Oh,
her.
get her on camera. Is she right there?
No, she
Jamie.
doesn't get on camera.
Yeah,
She's
Jamie.
no, she's acting. She's giving me the silent treatment right now. Yeah, no, there's varying stories, but pretty much I played a show in Byron Bay. This is the beginning of it. And she was there. Apparently, I walked right past her, but I didn't know. And later on, there was some messages exchanged, and
Mm.
then we've pretty much seen each other every week since and spoken ever since then. And now we've been together for 9 years. We've been
Wow.
married for three. Yeah,
Is it,
and
how's married life? Is it
Well, look, we've tried to get rid of each other a few times, but it just doesn't work out.
right, right. How did you? I saw it on social media. It's Jamie Sultana. So how did you decide who took whose name in that?
She picked mine. It's funny because like sometimes, well, there was an incident when we went to the doctors once, and they said to us, "Oh, you have the same last name. Are you sisters?" And I
Oh
didn't say
man.
anything, but I just like gave her a kiss, and they were
Oh,
just so fucking confused.
that is hilarious.
Sometimes we like to keep it broad, you know?
I like it. I like. Are you guys gonna? Do you think you'll have kids one day, or not thinking about it?
Nah, nah. We got 4 dogs, bro. That's enough.
That's enough. 4 dogs. That'll do the trick.
Yeah,
Can I ask about like your tats?
yeah.
I got a couple terrible tats, but your tats are pretty cool. What's your favorite tattoo of yourself on yourself?
Um, this one here is my logo,
Disco.
and I got that in Brazil. Well, I woke up with it the next day in Brazil.
Love it.
Um, and that was a really important trip, actually. So I'm friends with Anderson Paak and the Free Nationals,
Hell
and that was
yeah.
in 2018 on the Lollapalooza tour. Mac Miller was on that as well. He actually died a couple of months later.
Hmm.
And that night in Brazil was like when everyone had met, like I'd met Max Miller for the first time, and we ended up having a really nice night and drinking Moscow Mule in the foyer at the Hilton in Brazil. And then we had this really awesome night, and later on he actually went to bed while everyone was partying because he wanted to go and mix drums
Huh.
on his record
Yeah.
and just excused himself and went to bed. And that was the record that he passed away before it was out.
Oh my God.
But on this tour, he was like really committed to, just getting it done, getting it right, and not getting caught up in what everyone else was doing. He
Wow.
literally just left and kept working on the mix.
What an amazing story. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, he was an amazing, and yeah, the album that came out, it's crazy to think that he wrote it like while you were there. You must like listen to his music or just like have a different perspective on him and his
Well,
life.
I
And
didn't really know much of Mac Miller before that Lollapalooza run.
mm,
On that run is when, artists like Bond, and it was kind of like a golden era of music with all these artists on the bill at the time that weren't that big then and became big. Or he was, but like I wasn't, and heaps of other people that have become massive international successes at that point they weren't.
oh,
So
that's cool.
yeah, it was like a common ground that everyone met. And yeah.
Could I ask you about on this tour? Do you have any sort of rituals you do like before the show or like during the tour? What's
How
your
long you got?
what's your thing? What's your thing?
Um, I'm. It's so long, bro.
Oh, really? You have
Yeah,
a
I
lot
do
of
like it.
rituals.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
I do.
superstitious.
Yeah, I am.
Oh
So like,
no.
I always have to like throw something and get it in the bin like a certain amount of times, and I'll say in my head like it's going to be a good show tonight if I get this in the bin from
Oh
like the
my
corner of the
God.
room. Yeah, like it could be a can or something.
Okay, get something in the bin.
Um, but yeah, 3 hours before I go on stage,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
lock myself in my dressing room and I have a cold shower, and then I meditate for like half an hour in front of like an infrared light, steam my voice, do yoga and Pilates and weights and skipping rope and all that, and then get ready and go to the toilet the same amount of times every night.
What do you mean you go to the toilet the same? You
Like
go
I have to pee like a certain amount of times
how
every
many?
night.
What's the number?
Five,
Five
five,
times. Five
five
times.
times.
So
Yeah.
throughout the night, when do you take those five P's? There's one at the start, I
Half
assume.
an hour before I go on.
Half an hour before you go on it, there's the first
Yeah.
one, and then
Yeah.
throughout the night, five. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's,
5 times.
that's just a nervous thing, or just like a obsessive
Okay.
sort of. I
Oh,
need to
it's an
do this.
obsessive. It's OCD. It's 100% OCD. Like if you walk into my dressing room before I go on stage, you'll see everything is like fucking meticulously lined up. All the labels are all lined up. Like all my clothes and my rack are all color coordinated. Like
No
all the
way.
shoes have their yeah, I'm so tidy.
You would hate me. Yeah. You would
I
not want to
can't
live
do
with
mess,
me.
man. I
No.
cannot do mess. I
Oh,
cannot do
God.
mess.
Well, that's good. That's good at least. All right. I've got a few last questions to finish us out. What's your take on AI in music? I talk to some musicians and they
Mm,
love it, but most are kind of a bit worried about it.
it's really broad, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, um, I was prompting Chat GPT recently because I wanted to do a bit of an experiment myself and see how far I could get it to go. And I pretty much was trying to get it to spit out an ALS file, which is what you use in Ableton, right? It's a file in Ableton. So I was trying to prompt it to pretty much produce a track that I could then load into Ableton. And like it wouldn't do the ALS file, but it pretty much spat out a bunch of stems that I could put into Ableton
Mm.
to choose an instrument and put it behind. And I was just like, that's so fucking hectic, man. Like we're just gonna move into an age of where there's amazing benefit of AI that you can't humans can't process that many algorithms in a millisecond. So there's no way that you can compete, right?
Totally.
The things in the world, like example, putting cars on the same AI network where every single car lives on a certain network brain that communicates to every single car on the road will prevent so many accidents, right? Because every car will know where each other is at the same time all around the world, like a
Yeah,
global
incredible.
car network,
It
right?
sounds like you're
So,
embracing AI, which I
so
mean,
that's
yeah.
really cool, that side of it. But the music side of it, like I know like Timberland just signed an AI artist and
Mm.
like so many questions about what is an AI artist? How do you become one? It's pretty much an artist that is prompting AI to learn music and
But
spit it
you'll
out.
use it. You like going forward. You're interested in learning the technology enough
I
that you could
think
use it.
I think that there's a space for I think AI music would be AI would be amazing to come up with a plagiarism database system so that like you could pretty much scan your songs to see who's ripping off your stems without getting
But that's
approved.
AI in general. AI is just
Yeah,
ripping off. That's what AI.
it's
That's
ripping
how
off
they know.
everything.
That's
It's
true.
just so broad.
That's
Like
true.
it's so broad. You've got people right now who don't know what they stand for, and they're just getting Chat GPT to come up with a whole business module. Like,
Right.
here's how to become an influencer.
Mm.
Here's how to go viral on the internet. Use these 5 prompts to get your video to go from 300 views to 500 views or to
Exactly. Yeah, I've seen them.
5,000 to blah, blah. And it's like, who even are you? What do you even stand for? You don't even
Right.
know who you are because you're using a fucking robot to think.
Agreed. Agreed. Okay, I got a less serious question. Give us your favorite thing about America in your best American accent.
Okay, I've got one.
Okay.
Favorite thing of the tour was the other night I was doing a meet and greet, and the last woman to come in had a few drinks. I think she was a good time girl. She was probably about 60, 65. And she comes in, she goes, "Are you going to sign my tits? Or are you going to sign my flask?" I was like, wow.
What'd you sign?
Signing the flask.
Right, right.
The flask.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, signing the flask. No,
That's
that night.
hilarious. Last question. Do you eat sultanas? Do you eat
No,
sultanas?
I
What?
fucking hate raisins.
Yeah.
Like the way to ruin a cookie is to think that it's chopped chip, but it's actually fucking raisin.
Hey, pretty good point. Pretty
Way
good
to
point.
ruin it. Granola as well.
Oh yeah, not about it.
No.
Oh, very good. Okay, interesting. Well, Tash, man, it's been so good having you on. I was really stoked when we managed to set this up because, yeah, you're just an Aussie legend and you're over here flying the flag, doing great
Thank
things
you.
over here. You got your new album. It's just like, man, I'm really proud of you. Proud that you're over here and doing your thing. So congrats on everything. And I hope the rest of the tour goes as well as the start of it's gone.
Yeah. I think it'll get better.
Okay. Can't
All right,
wait.
thanks, man.
All
See
right,
ya.
Tash. See you later, mate.
Bye.
Bye.
G'day, Edward Lewis.
Good day.
G'day. Welcome to the Big Down Under podcast. Charlie Cotton is not here today. Obviously,
Right.
I'm not Charlie. But I am stepping in Charlie's spot, and you were stepping into my spot.
Feels great.
But I'm still doing my work. You're just here as a seat filler to chat. So I do this section of the podcast called This Week Down Under, where I bring stories in about Australia, people in Australia, Australians here, and we chat about it.
Okay.
You ready? Have you been to Australia?
I've never been.
Off to a good start.
I've seen some of the animals that are indigenous to Australia.
Okay, which ones?
I enjoy them. Koalas, kangaroos. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
You've seen them in person?
Yeah, at zoos.
At a zoo.
In
captivity.
Right. That's before that all got canceled, though. Like,
okay,
when I was younger. Now I wouldn't do that.
Did you hold one?
No.
Oh. Koalas can give you chlamydia, so I guess it's
Oh.
safe. Did you not know that? Yeah, koalas can give you chlamydia.
From like touching them or?
Yeah, I think, something along those lines.
Okay.
Anyway, let's get started.
Oh, that wasn't one of the news.
No, that wasn't. That's old news.
Okay, all right.
That's old. That's not this week.
Okay.
That's like this century.
Okay, all right, good.
So I actually went out to a red carpet this week.
Okay.
As you know, I work at TooFab and we do some red carpets. And I went to Rebel Wilson's premiere for Brideheart. Rebel Wilson?
She's Australian.
She is Australian.
Australians.
Yes, yes. And I spoke to her about, being Australian in LA and how she's juggling. She's just had a baby and got married. So she's juggling this work life, baby, being a working mum. And her baby's called Royce. And I asked her if Royce has seen Pitch Perfect, because obviously she was made famous for Pitch Perfect. And she said that she's only seen 30 minutes of Pitch Perfect, but she loves the singing, she loves the dancing. But one thing she did say was that it's hard being a working mum, which I feel like you and I can't relate to because we don't have parents. We don't have kids. We're not parents yet.
No, not a parent. No.
Yeah. So she says it's hard being a working mum. It's really hard, juggling everything, but she's really enjoying it, and her daughter is a treat. So, yeah. Anything
So
to say
the
about
news here is that it's tough to be a mom.
It is.
Christina, you go out here and you break news.
Yeah,
at
I
these
really
events.
do. I
Oh
really
my
do.
goodness! Wow. Yeah,
But we spoke to Rebel. That's a good thing.
No, I'm not trying that.
I regret asking Ed on this podcast.
What an exotic response. All jokes aside, that is interesting. I mean, I think some people think that when you're that wealthy, that it is much easier to be a working mother, right? Because you have a million nannies and people look after your kid and stuff. So it is humbling, I guess is maybe the right word, or I guess makes her feel more
relatable. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ed.
Mm-hmm.
See? Smashing it.
It's not all jokes. Yeah.
This might be a good one for you.
Yeah.
Because you're in sports.
I am in sports.
Do you remember you do sports? Do you do sports or you just report?
Yeah, I played volleyball on Saturday.
Great
beach volleyball
reporting
player.
on sports.
And
you
then
actually do that.
I used to golf, yeah.
Used to and play volleyball once a week.
Yep.
Big sports guy.
I'd play more if I didn't have to work here as much.
Oh, I see. Like that with someone else. That's not my problem.
Sorry.
Remember Raygun?
Yes, the dancer.
The Australian breakdancer, yes. So she became famous from the Olympics.
Yep.
So I feel like here she was quite celebrated. Do you think?
Not celebrated, no, is wrong.
Okay.
It's
So
more
the
made
same.
fun of.
Yes. Okay. So that happened a lot in Australia as well. I wasn't sure if it was different here.
No.
Because we saw a lot of costumes and Halloween and things like that.
I think Charlie was her for Halloween.
He was.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, yes. Similar to Australia, she wasn't exactly celebrated, but she's actually made headlines again. Not for doing anything, but there's a documentary coming out about her and about why she wasn't celebrated. What's your opinion on that?
She wasn't celebrated because she was bad. What's the answer? What hard-hitting investigative journalism is there to do?
This US breakdancing pioneer Michael Holman has said that the anchor that came from Raygun's performance at the Olympics comes from a lot of different places. And he said because, breakdancing originated from marginalized teenagers with poor and working class Black and Puerto Rican backgrounds. So he says, so her being white and Australian and jumping around like a kangaroo, that's going to be a loaded gun.
Right.
Whether she intended it or not, the end result was
right. It was low-key offensive. Yeah. I mean, it's almost the same way as, are you old enough for this? Do you remember William Hung in American Idol?
No.
Oh, I guess it wouldn't even be.
We had Australian Idol.
Yeah. In American Idol, they had William Hung, and it was like a singing competition. You're familiar.
Yeah.
Australian Idol the same as American Idol?
Yeah, we just copied.
Yeah, okay. And he goes up there and he sings She Bangs. And I'm sure,
I think I remember this going
famous,
viral. Yeah.
And it's a singing competition. You know, it's supposed to be for good singers, and he became famous for the wrong reasons or whatever, similar to Ray Gun. So. Yeah, I mean, anytime you go and do a serious competition and you don't do it anywhere near the level of seriousness, you're going to get dragged for it, you know?
But do you think she was doing it seriously? And she's just...
Yeah, I mean, obviously she made the Olympics and Australia chose her. I think that I think that when she was there, she had to have some idea that this was not going
Yeah.
well, right? Like,
Yeah.
like I can dominate little kids at volleyball, but when I go to pros,
Can you though?
Yeah. I mean, on a good
Can
day.
you?
On a good day. So yeah, I don't. Are we supposed to have empathy for her? What is this?
Well, I think it's just a discussion because it was, it was headlines everywhere. And,
Yeah.
she came out defending herself,
Yeah.
saying that, like, I was chosen, like,
Right.
this is my version of breakdancing.
She also has to be. I think she was. Maybe she wasn't. She also has to be real about the situation. It's different. It's not.
Yeah.
You got to eat that one. You got to wear it.
That is true.
As they say in baseball, you got to wear it.
You got to, oh, that's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, Hugh Jackman, another Australian. I'm not sure if you saw this.
Wolverine.
Wolverine, exactly. Well, he was out in New York. Well, he was leaving his work of his play right now. And he walks out of this theater in New York and there's a huge group of fans all asking for selfies, asking for autographs. And he's working his way through, being very polite, taking lots of selfies, signing autographs. And as he's walking, like the crowd is following him and still wanting more photos. And then he looks over and sees a car driving past, flags them down, asks them, where are you going? And they're like, oh, the 6th. I don't know New York terms. And he's like, great, gets in the car. It's not an Uber. It's not a Lyft. It's a completely
Just hitched a
random.
ride.
Yes.
Okay.
Would you do that?
If I was going up like 2 streets and I was super famous and need to get away, sure.
Yeah.
Is hitchhiking rare
Dangerous?
in Australia?
Well, I feel like hitchhiking's like just catching an Uber now. But I think when you're that famous, Hugh Jackman.
Well, and look, the city I think matters too, right? It wasn't like he was in like some rural area where people are like,
That is true.
like he could obviously hop out or roll down the window or scream or
Yeah, or
like,
call
there's a
911.
lot of police.
Yeah.
It wasn't super dangerous, and I think now he's getting what he wants out of it. Like, oh, he's the
Getting
cool
it.
guy that and then relatable.
Oh,
that hitches
see.
rides. He's not the celeb like other celebs.
Anyway, Ed, thanks so much
Yeah,
for
thank
joining
you.
us on the Big Down Under. It's
Anytime.
been an absolute pleasure.
It was a great.
Until next time. Thanks, guys.